The courtroom is charged, a heavy silence looming over the onlookers. All eyes are on the judge, but all anyone can discuss is the video proof that just turned everything upside down. One popular TikTok, a secret tape no one was aware of, might set Kody Brown back an astonishing $450,000. And at the center of it all, Janelle standing strong, finally willing to take what she deserves. Will justice win out, or will family secrets tear them all apart? Come with me to find out every startling detail. It's early morning in Las Vegas, but the air within the courthouse is thick and oppressive. The smell of polished wood blends with the subtle, acrid taste of coffee. Sunlight streams through high windows, casting thin beams across the packed benches. Kody Brown is seated at the front, jaw clenched, hands clasped, eyes flashing between his wives. Janelle is a few rows down, posture rigid but resolute. She's wearing subdued colors, attempting to look serene, but the tension emanates from her in waves. The case is not about money. It's about validation, acknowledgement, and finally being heard. Janelle has suffered silent betrayals and subtle exclusions in a family where appearances are as important as loyalty for years. And today, she has something powerful working in her favor, evidence that could turn the entire game around. It began with a brief TikTok video, anonymously posted clip that went viral in days. The clip is of an argument in the family kitchen, raised voices, flying accusations. From the outside, it seems like normal tension, but in light of the current financial standoff over joint household money, it's incendiary. The clip captures Kody spilling some surprising words, a statement that unwittingly verifies Janelle's accusations of financial mishandling. The lawyers have been preparing for months, combing through every transaction, every whispered conversation in the house. Christine's meticulous binder of receipts, Mary's sporadic journal notes, even Robin's calm testimony, all were meant to protect Kody, or at least maintain the family's fragile image. But the TikTok clip? It's a wild card. Everyone in the courtroom senses it. Even the judge leans forward, intrigued. You won't believe what occurs next in court. This one piece of evidence turns the whole case upside down. As the trial gets underway, the voice of the judge pierces the grumblings. Let's have a review of the evidence, she remarks, her voice unyielding but imbued with authority. Janelle's lawyer rises, loading the video onto the projector in the courtroom with a sense of certainty. Heads turn, whispers break out, and even Kody's face pulls in a little tighter. The video plays, the audience observing intently as each word and movement is analyzed on the fly. Janelle observes intently, her expression inscrutable at first, then gradually, a tiny smile appears, enough to suggest that she is pleased. She is aware of what the video establishes, and a surge of adrenaline at realization of the stakes causes her to feel invigorated. The courtroom is frozen in expectation, each moment drawn out longer than the previous one. Across the room, Kody shifts uncomfortably in his chair. His mind races, calculating damage, wondering if this is the turning point he can't recover from. Christine shoots a sharp glance at him, eyes flashing with frustration. Robin fidgets subtly, sensing the emotional storm building. And Mary, she remains quiet, a distant observer who's seen family drama spiral into chaos before. The judge freezes the video at the most pivotal point. This timestamp is key, she says. Her gaze sweeps the room and settles on Kody. Would you like to react? Silence. The kind that weighs on everyone's chest, heavy and oppressive. And then, a voice calm but pained, starts Kody's answer. But what he utters next will astound the court even further, with everyone second-guessing what they believed they understood about loyalty, truth, and familial ties. What Kody says next might save him or condemn him. Don't blink, because this shifts everything. The courtroom is still, but electric with tension. All eyes are on Kody, waiting for him to respond to the TikTok video that has hijacked the trial into pandemonium. The judge leans forward in her seat, eyebrows furrowed, suggesting that she's ready for truth. The onlookers, media personnel, and even the court clerks can feel the seriousness of what is about to happen. Janelle sits in the corner, hands clasped tightly together. Her pulse races, her stomach twists, but there's a quiet satisfaction in her eyes. Finally, after years of feeling invisible in her own family, she is about to be heard. Kody clears his throat, his voice unsteady, a crack betraying his usual calm demeanor. Your Honor, I didn't intend for it to sound that way, he bumbles, looking over at the screen where the TikTok video continues to run. His eyes dart over to Christine, whose eyes shoot daggers at him, arms folded, lips compressed in a thin line. Robin leans slightly forward, her expression neutral but calculating, while Mary sits in her corner, hands folded in her lap, watching silently as if trying to predict the next blow. The judge tilts her head slightly, her eyes fixed on Kody. Mr. Brown, the court needs clarity. That video is significant. Explain what we're seeing here. Kody swallows hard, his thoughts whirling. He knows one wrong move could cost him a fortune. It was just a heated moment, he admits at last. I didn't think it would be taken out of context. Little does Kody realize this heated moment can undo everything he's worked so hard to keep under wraps for years. Janelle's lawyer stands up, serene but authoritative. Your Honor, this is not about context. This is about habitual patterns of money mismanagement and manipulation. That video is just one of many pieces that establish a systemic problem. The courtroom murmurs, some shake their heads, others whisper fervently. The tension builds, almost like a storm about to break. Janelle's eyes glint with determination. She takes a deep breath, steadying herself, and stands. I've been patient, she says, her voice quiet but firm. I've tried to manage quietly, to maintain harmony, but the truth cannot be ignored any longer. This video isn't just evidence, it's validation. Kody fidgets uncomfortably, clenching his hands together. The camera position in the room captures the minute shudder in his fingers, the minute clench of his jaw. He realizes that the TikTok video isn't going to disappear, and that each individual in this courtroom now carries a portion of his reputation in their judgment. Christine reclines in her chair, her eyes narrowing, a hint of victory dances in her face. She is a stickler for details, keeping notes and records, but she is also wise enough to know when to hold her tongue and let actions speak louder than words. Robin, by contrast, is composed, hiding any turmoil that might rage within her. But anyone paying close enough attention can detect the subtle tension in the muscles across the top of her shoulders, the micro-expressions that reveal her anxiety. The judge holds up a hand for quiet. We now move on to testimony about family finances and expenditures. Miss Janelle Brown, come forward. Janelle stands, her steps steady and slow. She approaches the stand, flashing a quick glance toward Kody before she takes a deep breath. Your Honor, she starts. I've kept years of meticulous records on everything from contributions to withdrawals to expenses. I've noted every disparity that I could locate, but it isn't until now, with this proof, that the reality can no longer be dismissed. The papers in Janelle's possession might alter the family dynamics for all time. What she discovers next is appalling. She digs into a file and removes well-prepared papers, each page neatly labeled and marked. The judge glances over them quickly, but her expression makes it apparent that she feels the extent of what Janelle has gathered. There are receipts, bank records, and even screenshots of private messages, all leading to an ongoing trend of irresponsibility. The prosecution introduces more evidence, text messages between Kody and the other wives, demonstrating financial decisions made without discussion. Some of the texts are ordinary, others extremely troubling, detailing decisions with a direct impact on household stability. The court hangs on the words as the story is told, explaining cracks in a family that seemed always united on television. Kody adjusts in his seat once more, mouthing something to his lawyer. His characteristic self-assurance is beginning to erode. He's coming to the understanding that he might not be able to control the story anymore. The judge reclines in her chair, drumming her pen on her notepad. This evidence is disturbing, she says. Do you have anything else to say, Mr. Brown? Kody pauses, looking each wife in turn. His eyes rest upon Janelle for a very long time, with a combination of regret, frustration, and something he's not quite willing to admit. Your Honor, I trails off. The room is silent, all eyes on him. I accept some of the points, but it's more complicated than it seems. He eventually utters. Every word Kody utters is dissected by the courtroom. Could his attempt to explain actually worsen his case? The mood changes slightly, as a strained rope set to break. The witnesses are brought in to testify, each contributing layers to the already strained story. Robin is called up to the stand, her voice steady but unyielding. offering details on household decisions and the flow of money. Her testimony is calculated, a clear statement without overt blame, but the undertones are well understood. Kody's handling has been imperfect. Christine continues, her voice more biting, accusatory. She details moments in which Kody's choices strained the wives' relationships, impacting their daily lives, the children, and their finance. She does not accuse him outright, but presents her words in a manner in which she calls out inconsistencies and questionable decisions. The courtroom leans forward, the tension mounting with each word. In the meantime, Janelle remains motionless, soaking up every revelation, counting mentally how each testimony strengthens her argument. She is certain that the TikTok video will be the ultimate piece of evidence that brings it all together. The court is about to reach the stage where everything, the paperwork, the testimony of witnesses, the viral video will come together in one moment that will turn the entire case around. The judge leans forward once more, indicating the importance of the next portion. We will now consider the TikTok evidence in full context, she states. The courtroom falls silent immediately. Even Kody's lawyer appears briefly stunned by the seriousness of the situation. The video plays again, this time in slow motion, frame by frame, slowing down the key moments. All gestures, every word are analyzed. Kody's face contorts, eyes nervously darting as the irrefutable truth is revealed. The video not only confirms Janelle's accusations of financial misconduct, but also reveals the emotional cost his choices have extracted from his family. As the video is shown, the court gasps, something no one anticipated to be seen is going to happen, and it will alter everything. At the climax of the video, Janelle's eyes shine with a blend of vindication and sadness. She has been struggling in silence for years, and this scene, painful as it is, marks a turning point. Kody's face shows a glimpse of vulnerability, a crack in the armor that he has so long sustained. The tension is palpable, like a spring wound tight and ready to unwind. The judge freezes the video in the key moment, turning to Kody. Do you have anything further to say about this evidence? She inquires, her tone steady but commanding. The room leans in, the quiet nearly deafening. Each breath sounds louder, each heartbeat resonating off the walls of the courtroom. Kody swallows hard, and his mind is racing, and for an instant he appears really unsure. This is not about money, this is about reputation, trust, and the thin threads that keep a family together. His words next could temper the damage or speed it to a point of no return. What Kody speaks next can destroy the family or salvage what is left. Hold on, because the courtroom is about to explode. And just as he is about to make his statement, the back door of the courtroom bursts open, and in comes an unexpected witness, someone no one had ever imagined. All heads turn, tension hanging in the air. A gasp goes around the room. Whispers spread like a wave. This sudden intrusion threatens to rewrite the whole story and send shockwaves through the entire audience. The judge lifts a hand, calling for silence. Proceed, she orders, her eyes locked on the stranger. The courtroom is holding its breath. The betrayals, the drama, the secrets, everything has been building toward this. And just as the witness emerges, poised to give evidence that might tip the balance, the camera sweeps across Janelle's resolute face, holding her resolve. She senses that whatever happens from this point, the truth is finally being revealed. Who is this surprise witness, and what explosive truth are they going to disclose? The revelation will leave you amazed. The courtroom is almost like a dream. As the door swings wide open, every eye is fixed on the individual entering the room. Silence descends like a thick curtain, pierced by the echo of the stranger's footsteps on the shiny floor. The judge, always in control, motions for the witness to come closer to the stand. Slowly, deliberately, the woman or man moves towards the stand, and for 1 second, the room holds its collective breath. Janelle's eyes widen, curiosity and hope at war across her face. She has walked for years through the tangled, secretive currents of this family, and now it appears that a whole new level of reality is on the verge of breaking through. Kody's jaw clamps tight, a faint flash of fear crossing his face. He hadn't anticipated this. None of them had. The witness arrives on the stand, and the judge makes the usual inquiry. Name, occupation, and connection to the party. But even this polite introduction can't conceal the tension radiating through the air. All the individuals there get the feeling that this testimony will overthrow the whole story. The disclosure this witness is about to make will stun everyone. It's something no one in the courtroom anticipates. After taking the oath, the witness clears her throat. I witnessed a number of incidents, she starts, voice firm but with an underlying tone of emotion. Some of these incidents were involving financial decisions. Some were involving what was said that never was intended to be shared. But I think they're important to understanding the real dynamics of this family. The room responds almost in unison. Kody's face goes white. Christine leans forward, intrigued. Robin's face doesn't change, though there is a fleeting flicker of concern across her eyes. Even the judge appears interested for an instant, leaning forward to hear more intently. The witness goes on, relating clandestine discussion that had never been recorded, selective manipulations that isolated Janelle, and financial blunders that were swept under the carpet in public. Every detail is a coda to the last, piling the narrative with tension, emotion, and depth. The TikTok evidence, previously shocking in isolation, now looks nearly like an overture to this darker discovery. Each word the witness utters is another brick in the wall. Can Kody defend himself against this ever-growing evidence? Janelle listens carefully, her face a complicated mix of relief and determination. For years she's been questioned, disbelieved, and now finally she has evidence that what happened really did happen. What she said really did happen. There's a small, almost unnoticeable nod from her, a silent recognition that truth at last is rising. The witness recalls one specific episode, a family living room meeting in which household expenditures were decided on without Janelle's input. I do recall Kody saying that it wasn't necessary to include her, the witness remembers, and simultaneously money was being diverted to things she didn't know about. It was confusing, frustrating, and made her feel excluded that Janelle did not need to be. Kody fidgets in his chair, a droplet of perspiration on his brow. He had wished this information would be kept hidden, lost in the depths of domestic complexity. But here it is, exposed to the crowd. Christine's eyes blaze with anger and vindication, as if years of bottled-up hostility are finding their vent. Robin preserves her calm, though the faint pursing of her lips conceals inner tension. The emotional impact of these disclosures is overwhelming. Janelle's vindication is just on the horizon. The courtroom falls silent as the witness unfurls a thin pile of paper, receipts, scribbled notes, and makeshift financial records that support their testimony are shown. The judge studies them intently, nodding from time to time, obviously recognizing their relevance. The evidence is meticulously itemized. There is no margin for error or misinterpretation. Janelle's lawyer rises, taking advantage of the opportunity. Your Honor, these papers, taken together with the testimony and the TikTok recording, create a clear pattern. This is not a matter of mere misunderstanding or one-time mistake. It is an ongoing disregard for fair decision-making and appropriate financial disclosure. The judge leans back, fingers steepled, clearly contemplating the weight of what she's hearing. Mr. Brown, she says, voice measured but firm, the evidence presented so far raises significant concerns about accountability and fairness within this household. How do you respond? Kody takes a deep breath, looking at each wife in turn. He knows he's under enormous scrutiny, and one wrong move could be disastrous. Your Honor, he starts, his tone softer than usual. I admit mistakes may have been made. I never wanted to leave Janelle, or any of my wives, out of these decisions. But the dynamics are complex, and I did what I believed was best for the family. Will Kody's account be sufficient, or is the evidence too great for him to overcome? The courtroom turns once more as another tide of testimony mounts, this one addressing emotional impact. Psychologists and family specialists are brought in to give insight into the psychological toll these interpersonal and financial battles have left on the wives, especially Janelle. Their assessments are detailed and empathetic, recounting the psychological impact of long-term exclusion, stress, and financial insecurity on mental well-being. Janelle's calm starts to break slightly as the experts testify. She thinks back on her moments of frustration, loneliness, and self-doubt, moments when she doubted herself just because her fears were belittled or dismissed. And now, as each shred of evidence corroborates her experience, she feels both relieved and sad.
relieved to finally be heard, sad for the years she had endured. Each discovery carries more and more weight to the case. Janelle's quest for justice is increasingly impossible to overlook. Christine's testimony comes next, her voice crisp, nearly surgical inaccurate.
She discusses instances of Kody's choices that favored some members of the household against others, ever so discreetly pointing out trends toward favoritism. Her testimony is quick but impactful, casting Kody's actions in ways that highlight responsibility without making the spotlight turn into attacks on personality. Robin then shares her take, presenting balance in the story. She admits Kody's good intention of maintaining harmony at home, but she cannot overlook the effects of his unilateral action. Her level-headed, objective account contrasts with the intense feelings surrounding her, giving credibility and dimension to the courtroom's grasp of the family situation. The courtroom is a war zone of emotion and evidence. Each witness brings Janelle closer to the justice she's long sought. The air is thick with tension as the judge gestures toward a brief recess. The audience buzzes, absorbing the gravity of what's been laid bare. Kody leans back, shoulders knotted, eyes fixed on the table before him. Janelle pauses to catch her breath, the significance of the moment settling over her like a palpable entity. Outside the courtroom, cameras snap up every detail, every hasty glance, every transient expression, but within time stretches out, each passing second weighed down with expectation. When the hearing resumes, attention turns to a financial analyst who has examined family ledgers and bank records. The analyst's testimony is technical but incisive in its simplicity. Numbers, timelines, and recorded discrepancies are presented in minute detail, leaving few avenues for refutation. Each misallocated fund, each inexplicable transaction is itemized, corroborating Janelle's assertion. Kody's lawyer tries to parry, proposing that there might be clerical mistakes or misunderstandings behind some of the discrepancies. But the video, the paperwork, and the testimony of the witnesses all coalesce into a tale too integrated to ignore. The courtroom leans forward as a unit, sensing that a turning point is at hand. The evidence is building. Can Kody hold up to it, or will Janelle's accusations at last overwhelm the balance? The tension builds to a crescendo when Janelle herself is called to the stand again, not only as a plaintiff, but as a witness of emotional fact. She describes her experiences, the strain, the feeling of invisibility, and the ways in which her concerns were invalidated. Her voice shakes sometimes, but the determination behind each statement is clear. She's not battling for dollars, she's battling for recognition, dignity, and justice. The judge watches with rapt attention, nodding as Janelle testifies. The words ring out not only in the courtroom, but for all watching, each of them silently nodding in appreciation for the bravery it must take to stand up to a family member in such a public, high-profile forum. Janelle's words strike at the core of the family, and the courtroom waits with bated breath for Kody's reaction. And, as the session concludes, the judge asks for closing argument, an indication that the case is coming to a critical juncture. The tension in the room is nearly unbearable. Each witness, each document, each bit of evidence has culminated here. The audience realizes that the moments ahead will not only decide financial fates, but the very relationships and trust within this family. The gavel of the judge falls lightly on the bench, casting a silence over the courtroom. Kody catches his breath, understanding that his answer can define the story in ways he cannot yet imagine. Janelle sits poised to grab the moment, her face a blend of anticipation and subtle victory. And as the courtroom holds its breath, the back door creaks open once again, a small motion that teases with one more twist, one more secret, and one more opportunity to turn everything around. Just as you believe the drama has reached its peak, the next shocker will leave everybody, including Kody, speechless. The courtroom is filled with the heavy air of anticipation as everyone comes back from recess. There is a nearly electric tension in the air, as though the room itself is aware that the turning points are coming. Kody is stiff, fists locked on the table, mouth set. He's been grilled for hours, but whatever is coming now is a more crushing burden than anything he has faced. Janelle watches him, composed but with the quietest fire of resolve. This is what she has been waiting for. The climax of years of frustration, silence, and ignored efforts. The judge lifts her gavel off the desk. We will now hear final testimonies before we examine the financial allocations and issue an appropriate ruling, she declares. The room falls silent, the anticipation almost suffocating. The observers, court reporters, and even lawyers lean forward, aware that what is to come may forever alter this family's history. A new witness is called, someone who has long observed the inner workings of the Brown household. Their testimony promises to be revelatory. I have observed repeated patterns of exclusion and financial decision-making that unfairly impacted Janelle. The witness begins, voice steady but tinged with emotion. She has consistently been denied the same access to family resources, and these actions have caused emotional distress and uncertainty. Each uttered word plunges the courtroom drama deeper, exposing secrets that may break Kody's hold on his family. The courtroom soaks up the testimony like a sponge, all listeners wrestling with the significance of these disclosures. Janelle's face is still calm, but for a flash there is an undercurrent of feeling, a contained powerful confirmation that this time she is being listened to. Kody squirms, his eyes darting to the evidence projected on the screen, receipts and spreadsheets and TikTok videos and texts that validate each accusation. Christine bends forward, her eyes snapping, her lips compressed in a hard line. She has never been careless about recording the family's financial transactions, and her presence now adds another level of stress to Kody. Robin sits next to him, her calm demeanor just covering the turmoil brewing inside. Mary stays quiet, an outsider observer, her expression capturing the sober seriousness of the situation. The witness goes on, detailing certain incidents in excruciating detail. One anecdote stands out, a family outing when Janelle's assigned budget was somehow cut back, leaving her to settle for inferior accommodations and meals, while other wives were given complete funding. The records shown along with the testimony leave little ambiguity. The waste is routine, deliberate, and psychologically hurtful. Janelle's decades-long suppressed anger is finally vindicated, and the court can sense the tension of years of unspoken resentment. The judge reviews the papers and evidence, her face impassive but thoughtful. Mr. Brown, you have heard the witness and seen the evidence. What is your response to these allegations of continuous exclusion and financial neglect? Kody swallows hard, a drop of sweat at his temple. His brain rushes to come up with a defense, a means of lessening the blow. Your Honor, it was never my intention to leave Janelle out. I've always tried to meet the needs of the family, he starts, his voice shaking slightly. The situation is complex, and I've made errors, but I did what I thought was best for the family. Will Kody's account suffice to stem years of verifiable documentation, or is the case irreversibly sliding out of his grasp? Janelle stands, drawing a deep breath before speaking. Your Honor, she starts out, her tone calm but with the power of years of emotion behind it. This isn't about money, it's about respect, fairness, and being recognized as an equal partner in this family. The testimony, the evidence, and even the clips from the video all present a pattern that cannot be overlooked. I am owed justice, not just for myself, but for the principle of accountability and honesty. The judge nods marginally, accepting the earnestness and seriousness in Janelle's tone. She motions for the next item to be presented, a thorough financial document carefully laid out by Janelle's attorney. The figures underscore inconsistency, mysterious transfers, and disproportionate allocations, illustrating a scene of systemic lack of oversight, intentional or not. Kody leans back and massages his temples, clearly frustrated. The room sees the tension rise with each slide coming through on the projector. Each report, each chart, adds to the gravity of the case. The TikTok video, which was appalling in and of itself, now becomes a focal point for the accumulating evidence Janelle has been wronged. The evidence is irrefutable, and the courtroom can practically smell the suspense. Justice dangles on a thread. A brief recess is called by the judge, instructing the lawyers to stand ready to make their closing remarks. The room slowly clears, and hushed conversations spread among the audience. Did you see the TikTok? Someone whispers. Blown wide open. Another voice makes comments about the spreadsheets and depositions, wondering about the upcoming payment. Janelle pauses to compose herself, briefly closing eyes as she takes a deep breath. This is about more than money. It's about validation, pride in taking control of her life back. She has waited years in silence, accepting decisions that eroded her power and work. Now, with all the evidence exposed, she feels released along with nervous excitement. As the hearing continues, the judge makes a gesture to Kody's lawyer to give a closing defense. The lawyer stands, trying to reframe the case in a different light. "Your Honor," he says, voice even, "while the testimony can raise questions of inconsistencies, it is important to look at intent, the overall well-being of the family, and the specific dynamics of their home. Mr. Brown had the best of intentions, and we urge the court to consider these carefully." Christine rolls her eyes discreetly, not believing her. Robin's face is bland, but a tiny clenching at the jaw. The courtroom observes the increasing tension, as they realize that the judge will make his choice based on a delicate weighing of facts, emotion, and believability. The courtroom drama reaches its climax. Every look, every movement could win Janelle the case, or shatter Kody's hopes. The judge stands, voice steady but with undeniable power. "We have listened to all the testimony and considered all the evidence. As I proceed to render my judgment, I am making sure that all concerned are aware of the gravity of the decision to be made." She looks at Kody, Christine, Robin, Mary, and Janelle. This is not merely a case of money, it is a case of fairness, responsibility, and justice within a family setting. The audience sits in quiet suspense, knowing the courtroom is collectively holding its breath. The reaction of each family member is magnified in this second. Kody's shoulders dip slightly. The tension on his face is almost tangible. Christine's face sets into a mask, eyes scanning with frustration and anticipation. Robin stands composed, though a brief shadow of concern crosses her face. Mary sits stock still, watching quietly as the drama unfolds. And then the time comes. The judge's hand pauses over the gavel. Before she delivers, voice slow and calculated. Upon careful weighing of all evidence, testimonies, and corroborating documents, the court holds that Janelle Brown has been unfairly disadvantaged in family budgetary dispensation. The court decrees a payment of $450,000 to Janelle Brown to correct the imbalances and restore equity. Gasps resonate in the courtroom. Janelle's eyes open wide, a combination of shock and victory painting her face. Tears shine as she takes in the enormity of the decision. This is not just about money, it's recognition, vindication, and justice long in coming. The $450,000 decision shocks the courtroom, but the emotional resonance is much deeper than anyone might have imagined. Kody's face goes pale. The weight of the choice rests heavily on him. This isn't a matter of dollars, it's an admission that publicly his hand in managing family funds has been poor. Christine reclines, eyes shining with a combination of satisfaction and wariness, as Robin breathes softly, internal math whizzing through her mind. Mary remains in silent witness, the subdued acceptance of repercussions inscribed on her features. As Janelle's lawyer starts making the arrangements for the payment, Janelle herself stands up, taking a deep breath. She faces the courtroom, her voice firm, tears in her voice but composed. "I am thankful that the court has taken notice. This decision is not about the money, it is about fairness, dignity, and the principle that all members of a family are due respect." The courtroom is hushed, the atmosphere thick with a combination of relief, tension, and anticipation. Cameras record every second, every expression, every fleeting emotion. Outside, the media start to speculate, headlines taking shape even before the gavel has come down. Janelle's triumph is historic, but the theatrics aren't yet done. How will Kody react? And what does this portend for the family going forward? Kody gathers his papers, his mind racing through possible next steps. Christine watches, a silent strategist assessing future moves. Robin maintains her composed exterior, but her thoughts are deeply engaged, analyzing the impact of the ruling. Mary's quiet observation remains, a subtle reminder that in this family, every action carries consequences. The judge speaks, the session adjourned, but the tension remains, a palpable residue in the air. Everyone knows this is not the end. Family dynamics are complex, and the ripple effects of this decision will be felt for decades. But for Janelle, this is triumph, vindication, and the beginning of a new chapter. As Janelle celebrates, the question remains, how will Kody restore trust and deal with the fallout of this courtroom drama? The courtroom slowly clears out, but tension remains in the air like a dense fog. Witnesses,
journalists, and court officials can't help but discuss the groundbreaking $450,000 verdict in Janelle's favor. Cameras flash as the blend of victory, shock, and disbelief etched on each family member's face is immortalized. Janelle rests back for a second, hands clasped in her lap, taking in the gravity of what has just transpired. For years, she had been feeling ignored, unheard, and undervalued, but now justice at last had been dispensed. Outside the court, the air is charged. Reporters rush, microphones held out towards Janelle as she emerges, her face serene but resolute. "I appreciate that the court has seen that," she says, voice firm but holding the passion of years of frustration. "It isn't about the money, it's about fairness, recognition, and standing up for oneself when silence won't do." Even outside of court, the after effects of this decision are starting to rock the Brown family to its foundation. Within the courtroom, Kody sits, documents spread out on the table in front of him. The weight of it bears down on him as never before. For the first time in years, he is faced with the unescapable results of his choices. He looks over at Christine, who says nothing, only a piercing look, half criticism, half reminder that there is a price to be paid for everything. Robin's face is blank, although slight stiffness in her shoulders betrays her own nervousness. Mary continues in silence, observing Kody with subdued examination, her expression a combination of pity and frustration. Kody eventually stands, voicing in a controlled tone, "This is a tough time for our family," he starts, voice weighed down with regret and frustration. "I see the court's ruling and will accept it, but I also wish to see if we can move forward as a family, even if this ruling proves difficult." His words dangle before us, trying to find a middle ground between acceptance and control, but tension beneath it is palpable. Kody's reconciliation efforts might not be sufficient. Janelle's win has turned the tables, and feelings are running perilously close to the edge. The family assembles in the private living room of their mansions that night. The atmosphere is strained, thick with unspoken words and covert resentment. Janelle remains quiet, looking at each member of the family, her win balanced by the cost to emotion. Christine reclines, arms folded, watching silently. Robin maintains a composed exterior, but keeps a watchful eye on Kody, sensing the storm brewing beneath his calm facade. Mary's silence continued, her thoughts unreadable but her presence commanding in its quiet strength. Janelle breaks the silence, her voice soft but assertive. "I know this decision will alter things, not only financially but emotionally. I hope we can somehow move on without anger and resentment." Her eyes lock with Kody, and for a brief moment, the room waits with bated breath. Will he take the ruling and accept reconciliation, or will past grievances cut through? Kody breathes out, a slow, measured exhalation. "I see your point, Janelle," he says cautiously. "I want to move on, but it will take some time to rebuild trust. We can't undo what happened in the past, but I am willing to do my best." His tone is genuine, but the clench of tension in his jaw and the flash of doubt in his eyes reveal the turmoil he is struggling with. Despite Kody's words, the family is aware that this win will put relationships to the test like never before. Who will stand firm, and who will crack under strain? The next few days are a blur. Janelle sets to work verifying the payout with her lawyer, making certain that every dollar is accounted for and legally obtained. Each move is careful, with no margin for mistake. Christine, herself always fastidious, stays in the background, gently offering counsel where it's required, but otherwise allowing Janelle to work through this new empowerment on her own. Robin makes the occasional visit, her practicality and calm providing a balancing factor amidst all the emotional turmoil. In the meantime, Kody goes to a solo office, scrounging through financial statements and legal papers. The decision has shaken him to the core, compelling him to deal with both errors and miscalculation. He goes over every transaction, every choice, and every encounter, trying to mesh intention with result. The exercise is arduous, emotionally depleting, and enlightening. For the first time, he actually sees the results of his actions as witnessed by the wives who believed in him to act fairly. Kody's introspection uncovers weaknesses that have seldom been laid bare. How will this new level of self-knowledge influence his relationships in the future? Strains are further exacerbated when family dynamics subtly but deeply start to shift. What were once everyday conversations become charged with meaning, each word being examined for secret motive. Janelle becomes more confident, her confidence strengthened by the court's approval, while Kody walks through an uncharted landscape he hasn't walked since being married to Janelle. Christine is on her toes, watching for a chance to exert her influence, as Robin warily considers how allegiances are likely to realign in the aftermath of the decision. Quiet as ever, even Mary appears to be thinking ahead, the implicit power dynamic shifting ever so quietly. One night, there's an intimate confrontation. Janelle goes to Kody, her face a mix of determination and vulnerability. "I want us to be a family once again," she says softly. "But that's only possible if there's recognition, respect, and honesty. We cannot go back to acting as if everything is okay when it is not." Kody gazes at her, the burden of the decision still weighing heavy on his shoulders. "I see, Janelle. I do, and I want to attempt it, but it will take time. I can offer no guarantee of perfection, but I can offer endeavor." His gaze wears an unusual open, a chink in the impenetrable mask he's sustained for so long. This emotional battle lays the groundwork for healing, or more conflict within the family, and the tension is hardly dissipated. Over the next few days, there are subtle changes in behavior. Kody starts to draw Janelle into more money decisions, seeking her opinion where he has moved forward on his own before. Christine manages each exchange with silent judgment and occasional input. Robin remains a constant source of calm, steering conversations subtly to keep the. Mary watches on, silence a potent counterpoint to the turmoil around her. But even in the midst of progress, old scars still open up. Disagreements over small things turn rapidly into blowouts, nurtured by old resentment, pride, and hurt. Every discussion is a delicate waltz, each member trying to toe the fine line between assertion and accommodation. Janelle's new assertiveness conflicts at times with Kody's efforts to reassert control, bringing moments of emotional intensity that spread throughout the household. The family's emotional landscape is shifting in unpredictable ways. Every decision could spark reconciliation or reignite conflict. With weeks going by, the effects of the $450,000 distribution start to take hold in tangible forms. Family resources are rearranged, budgets are adjusted, and duties are more fairly allocated. Janelle not only gains economic security but confidence in her place in the family is also restored. She starts playing a more active role in decision-making, her opinion having an influence it previously lacked. Kody struggles with these changes. The court's ruling has disrupted the established hierarchy, forcing him to confront his own biases and limitations. At times, frustration and defensiveness bubble to the surface, creating moments of tension. Janelle and other family members. Christine's sharp observations keep him in check, while Robin's calm guidance offers stabilizing. Mary's quiet presence serves as a subtle reminder of the family's shared history and the delicate balance of relations. Despite the progress, the Brown family is aware that harmony will take more than money. It will take understanding, patience, and trust. The emotional peak of time comes at a family dinner. The tension is all there, each knowing it. The conversations are civil but guarded, laughter economical, and gestures calculated. Then, all of a sudden, Kody brings up a subject that has been avoided for years: the effect of the ruling on family cohesion. "I know things have changed," he starts, voice cautious, "and I know that I've made mistakes. But I want us to see if we can move forward together, without bitterness. We're a family, and I don't want this ruling to tear us apart further." Janelle regards him thoughtfully, measuring her words. The emotional pressure of years of frustration and ultimately vindication weighs heavily upon her. She breathes in deeply before responding. "I want that too, Kody. But it has to be honest and respectful. We can't pretend everything is fine, because it's not. If we're going to forward, it must be real." This dinner conversation becomes a turning. Their words will shape the future of the family in ways no one could predict. As the evening progresses, little acts of compromise and understanding begin to surface. Kody starts listening more intently. Janelle sets boundaries firmly, and Christine and Robin dance around the sensitive conflict of influence support. Even Mary chimes in softly, providing information that closes divides without exerting dominance. The family starts hesitantly stepping into a new dynamic, one governed by accountability, acknowledgement, and guarded. But the ghosts of grievances past remain. With every triumph comes the awareness that old habits might be ready to resume at a moment. The Brown family is in new territory, working at the precise intersection of self-transformation, responsibility, and the tension of intrafamily ties. With progress being achieved, the family understands reconciliation to be tenuous, and the next turn might arrive at any time. The days after the payment are a fine balance in forward motion tension. Janelle has a sense of newfound empowerment, but the shadow of the courtroom wind still hangs over, reminding her that justice was upheld. But the family dynamics are still fragile. Every morning starts with deliberate planning, minor tweaking, and slight recalibrating in how decisions are arrived at. Kody, however, is openly agitated. For the first time in years, he's getting a sense of what his actions have done not only in principle but in the eyes, words, and actions of women he took an oath to guide. The morning sun streams the Brown family's big was as Kody sits by himself, gazing at stacks of financial papers strewn over the table. He goes through bank statement receipts and notes, following every choice, attempting to align purpose with consequence. Every line serves as a reminder that this is not only about finance, it's a reflection of the ways and behavior impacted trust, respect, and emotional health. As Kody comes face to face with what he has done, the family's fragile equilibrium teeters on the brink of collapse. What will shatter and what will remain? Meanwhile, Janelle starts asserting herself more in family talk. She brings up topics on finances at home, childcare and family, topics she had previously been excluded from. Her tone is assertive yet diplomatic, commanding respect and attention without putting away others. Christine observes intently, a faint smile flickering at her lips. She admires Janelle's boldness, but keeps her guard up, not wanting any miscalculation to offer Kody a chance to reassert authority. Robin sticks to her tried and true ways, stepping in when tension promises to boil over, while Mary observes silent, taking in every detail of the dynamic. The tension escalates further when Kody tries to have a one-on-one conversation. I know things are tough, he starts warily, but I want to try to figure out a way to get through this without destroying the family. I need your point. Christine reclines, eyes slit, arms folded, point of snaps. Kody, the view is straightforward. You were irresponsible, disregarded obvious warning, and now you're suffering the consequence. Don't anticipate I'm going. Christine's biting words, but the reality behind them is a reminder. Kody cannot turn. Later that night, there is a shocking revelation. While checking on some financial documents, Janelle discovers one that had remained undetected even in the courtroom. A set of transactions indicate that money may have been diverted without record. She is filled with a mix of frustration about money. It's about response, honesty, and at last seeing it that the family runs on the square.
She goes to her lawyer right away, presenting the evidence and asking for a thorough audit. The lawyer agrees, adding that this might result in yet another revelation or shift in the money arrangement. Janelle feels vindicated and excited. She has always stood up for fairness, and now she won't let oversight or dishonesty take that away from her. The revelation of secret transactions promises to open old wounds and may transform the family's tenuous peace into chaos. The tension mounts the following week during a family gathering called to address household chores and future plans. Kody comes armed with proposals for scheduling, budgeting, and the allocation of resources, seeking to recapture control while nodding to the court's decision. Janelle listens carefully, providing insightful feedback, her voice firm but measured. Christine interrupts periodically, tart and unyielding, underlining supposed shortcomings in Kody's suggestions. Robin tries to intervene, grounded and solution-oriented, while Mary sits as a quiet observer, her gaze showing the careful analysis of an old hand. The discussion becomes contentious as Kody suggests a joint discretionary fund, proposing that it be run together. Janelle replies categorically, if it's a joint effort, it has to really be shared. No more taking over or surprises. We have to have transparency and responsibility in all dealing. Kody pauses, sensing that Janelle's assertiveness is a power he cannot merely override. The clash over control and transparency ignites tensions that could unravel years of familial hierarchy. At the same time, in private, Christine confides in Robin. Kody is struggling, she whispers, and it's affecting how he relates to the family. If he doesn't adapt, the whole dynamic will fall apart. Janelle's confidence is building, and that intimidates him. Robin nods reflectively, understanding the tenuous equilibrium. We must support good choices without taking sides too harshly, she responds. Otherwise, the conflict will become irreparable. With each passing day, another level of tension surfaces. A social media controversy. A leaked video, out of context, goes viral on the internet, presenting clips of Kody having moments of anger and inner conflicts behind closed doors. The material is trivial, yet the public outrage runs high. Media sources and commenters make wild speculations about the health of the family and cast doubts on the leadership of Kody, mentioning the court's decision. The Brown family is now under the spotlight, increasing internal pressure and public scrutiny. Public scrutiny puts another level of pressure on the family. How will the family cope with public judgment amidst internal conflict? The Brown family holds an emergency meeting in response to the viral video. Kody begins, trying to take control. "We need to fix this," he says, voice tight but tense. "Public opinion might influence more than our reputation. It might influence our bottom line and relationships." Janelle cuts in kindly but firmly. "Transparency, not image, is what we need to focus on too. The federal court judgment has provided us with certainty, and we must capitalize on that. Not give social media an upper hand when it comes to decisions in our family." Christine's eyes flash, and she interjects with calculated precision. "Kody, you've already lost control publicly and privately. This isn't just about image, it's about accountability, and Janelle has proven she deserves a voice. It's time to accept that, or the tension will never end." Robin nods, reinforcing the need for balance and thoughtful decision-making. Mary remains quietly observant, weighing every word and gesture. The social media storm threatens to expose cracks in the family's foundation. Will they weather it together or fracture further? The following day arrives with another surprise twist. A new family member emerges with information about further financial mishandling that had not been introduced in court. Their evidence is in detail as well as credible, adding yet another twist to the unfolding saga. Janelle is taken aback at first, but soon realizes the need to deal with the matter. This isn't revenge, it's about justice and safeguarding the honor of the family. Kody responds with obvious distress, aware that the repercussions of his earlier decisions are immense. Christine observes intently, her face inscrutable, as Robin assesses the situation calmly. Mary sits in silence, watching the unfolding dynamics with introspective judgment. The family is confronted with another pivotal moment, a test that might bring them together or further compound the gap wrought by years of mishandling and misinterpretation. New secrets promise to unleash old wounds. Whether the family can respond will redefine their relationships in perpetuity. As night begins to fall, Janelle and her lawyer examine the new evidence, carefully strategizing the next moves. She is committed to seeing that justice is served, even if this means opening up discussions, audits, or negotiation. Her determination is reinforced by the fact that she is not only fighting for herself but also making a precedent for responsibility within the household. Kody, on the other hand, considers his behavior privately. The piling up of evidence, the court decision, and the public backlash press him to realize that leadership in this family is not just about a command authority. It calls for transparency, empathy, and respect for the voices of every member. He starts writing a plan to collaborate more with the wives, but fear and doubt remain. Kody's introspection could signal growth or further conflict, depending on how the family responds to his next moves. Tensions come to a head during a family dinner intended to rebuild unity. The conversation begins cautiously, with each member tiptoeing around sensitive topics. Then, unexpectedly, Janelle brings up the new evidence. "I've discovered transactions that were not previously addressed," she says, calm but firm. "We need to review them together to ensure fairness and transparency." Kody appears shaken but nods, realizing that fighting is pointless. Christine leans forward with piercing eyes, while Robin tries to intervene. Mary just sits back, letting things ride. All family members realize the pressure of history, emotion, and expectation bearing down upon them, knowing that the next few hours will change their lives and their relationships forever. This meal is a crucible. Their choices here will have consequences in this family for years to come. The evening wears on into night. Every payment, every choice, every recollection is discussed, analyzed, and dissected. Emotional intensity pervades. Janelle holds firm, ensuring equity as Kody listens, sometimes speaking, much more often in silence reflecting. Christine interrupts with measured accuracy. Robin mediates, and Mary watches the dynamics unfold in silence. By the end of the evening, modest but substantial progress is achieved. Deals are made, responsibility is enforced, and the family starts tentatively reconstructing trust. But subterranean tensions lurk. Conflicts unresolved continue to fester, and the shadow of past failure hangs over all. Even as progress is achieved, The family is aware that a single mistake could reverse months of delicate reconciliation. The sun rises over the Brown family, casting long shadows on the household, to herald the beginning of yet another tense day. The weeks that have passed have altered the dynamics of the family in ways that are subtle yet quite real. Kody sits at the dinner table, gazing at a cold cup of coffee, his head reeling from the events that transpired in the past weeks. The $450,000 settlement, Janelle's increasing assertiveness, and the public interest that followed the ruling. For the first time in years, he is vulnerable, exposed, and unsure. Janelle, on the other hand, walks with intent. The courtroom win has bolstered her confidence, but she is aware that resolution lies not only in money, it lies in emotional clarity, transparency, and real respect from those in her life. Her mornings are spent planning, checking on household budgets, and scheduling talks about family obligations, making sure that her new voice is heard and heeded. The tension between Kody and Janelle is palpable, and every little thing now has the weight of previous conflicts and open wounds. Later that day, Christine breaks into a one-on-one with Kody. "You've progressed," she starts, her voice even but laced with command. "You still don't get the full extent of how your choices affect everyone. The settlement was required, and Janelle's voice needs to be heard, not discounted. If you push harder, you will push people away, everyone including me." Kody listens, a blend of frustration and resignation crossing his face. "I know," he confesses softly. "I thought I knew before, but now I see the complexity of what I missed. I'm trying, but it's more difficult than I anticipated." Kody's epiphany is a turning point, but can recognition alone heal years of tension and mistrust? That night, later, the family received what was supposed to be a standard meeting regarding family finances. There is anything but a normal atmosphere. Janelle is seated firmly, spreadsheets at the ready, prepared to make her case. Kody is seated across from her, his body language indicating tension. Christine watches with judgmental eyes. Robin attempts to keep things even, and Mary is quietly observing the dynamics, her silence a subtle but potent energy in the room. Janelle starts, "I want all future financial decisions to be transparent and fair. We need good rules and accountability, not quick fixes." Her voice is strong, assertive, and unyielding. Kody nods, taking notes, but his jaw is still clenched, a telltale sign of the ongoing battle between control and cooperation. Out of nowhere, a surprise plot twist. A longtime family acquaintance, who has been handling minor family finances, comes in with word of irregularities in the family budget. Several unidentified transfers have come to light, suggesting either negligence or deliberate mismanagement. The room is heavy with silence. Janelle's eyes go wide with shock. Kody's brow furrows with concern, and Christine's lips press together into a tight line, her mind calculating strategy. Fresh financial discrepancies are set to destroy the tenuous balance that the family has been creating. Can trust make it through this discovery? The conversation soon becomes heated. Janelle demands a complete audit of every financial record, with a focus on transparency and equity. Kody acquiesces grudgingly, aware that opposition may further taint his reputation and interpersonal relationships. Christine observes calculatingly, considering how this latest turn of events will affect family life as well as public opinion. Robin nods silently, in support of Janelle's demand for accountability, while Mary observes dispassionately, her eyes reflecting both skepticism and interest. When the family starts to review the files, feelings are running high. Figures that were once ordinary now have significance, symbolizing years of unappreciated contributions, covert decisions, and insidious manipulation. The audit uncovers trends that are hard to deny, validating some of Janelle's suspicion, as well as creating some new questions regarding decision-making. With every discovery, pressure mounts as the family is compelled to face uncomfortable realities about trust, power, and accountability. That night, Janelle moves away from the table, taking time to absorb the unfolding drama. She thinks about the recent weeks, the courtroom win, the settlement, and the ongoing revelation that illuminate the family's internal mechanism. She is filled with a sense of triumph and trepidation. In one realm, justice has been achieved, but the road to harmony is far from certain. Kody, on the other hand, returns to his own study. He goes through papers, reading the audit reports, and attempting to align his intentions with the results.
Every entry is a reminder of errors, lapses, and instances when his leadership eclipsed justice. The awakening is discomfiting. Leadership in the family is no longer determined by exercise of decision-making power, but by cooperation, openness, and emotional intelligence. Kody's private reflections reveal vulnerabilities that could either foster growth or spark further conflict. Every decision from here is critical. The following day, the family gathers in tense family meeting to hear the audit results. Janelle confidently presents her results, pointing out discrepancies and offering solutions for the future. Kody sits silently, only occasionally interjecting, his customary assertiveness muted by the seriousness of what has happened. Christine criticizes where she perceives inefficiency. Robin intervenes where there are disagreements, and Mary listens, observing and only occasionally contributing her thoughts. During the meeting, a sudden emotional confrontation erupts. Kody, feeling the combined weight of scrutiny and accountability, raises his voice, a rare display of frustration. "I've been trying to manage this family, to keep everything together," he exclaims, "and now every decision I've made is being questioned, analyzed, and criticized." Janelle answers peacefully but firmly, her tone full of authority and conviction. "Kody, this has nothing to do with criticizing you. It has to do with being fair. It has to do with having everyone's voice heard, and no one forgotten. You can't effectively lead if you ignore the opinion of those who are under your care." The emotional high point comes as a result of Kody having to deal with the ramifications of past decisions before the entire family. Christine cuts in abruptly. "Kody, you have to realize that being a leader is not about making choices. It's about being responsible, respectful, and equitable." Janelle is demonstrating that she can live by these principles, something you have to see if the family is going to survive whole. Robin matter-of-factly asserts the necessity of compromise, recalling the importance of working together and trusting one another, and Mary softly nods, not interrupting the tension to build. There's tension in the air, each word and movement charged with meaning. Over the next few days, Kody makes a deliberate effort to alter his behavior. He engages Janelle more in financial discussion, household decisions, and family conversation. Everything is weighed, thoughtful, and guarded, in his bid to regain trust and re-establish balance. Janelle, confident by both the court's decision and her increasing leverage, engages actively while setting boundaries and demanding openness. The battle for equilibrium rages on, with old patterns colliding with new empowerment. Each encounter is a trust test. At the same time, the family is subjected to public scrutiny as news organizations cover the continued backlash resulting from the courtroom decision. Social media is abuzz with rumors, arguments, and opinion. The Brown family's internal battles have become public fodder, putting extra pressure. Janelle walks through interviews with calm confidence, focusing on fairness and openness, while Kody plays questions cautiously diplomatically, ever mindful that one slip might revive public scrutiny. Christine still keeps an eye on things strategic, making sure the story is kept balanced, while Robin provides consistent support and advice. Mary keeps herself largely in the background, her silence a strategic decision that underscores the seriousness of what she is saying. The emotional peak of this time comes with another family private conference. The subject: household planning in the long run and responsibility distribution. Kody suggests a cooperative format, one that shares decision-making more fairly. Janelle agrees in the affirmative, but demands definitive measures of accountability. Christine criticizes areas of likely conflict. Robin brokers a peace, and Mary listens. The family moves closer to a delicate balance, but any misstep could destroy the ground they have so carefully gained. As the conversation unfolds, unexpected surprises come to light. Janelle discovers more examples of financial mishandling that were previously ignored. These findings fuel passionate but healthy arguments about responsibility, justice, and openness. Kody listens, sometimes justifying past behavior, but the sheer force of evidence and feedback from the family compels him to own up. By the end of the night, there is a preliminary plan, a systematic method of household organization, unambiguous financial rules, and equal decision-making participation. Everyone in the household participates, adding input and suggestion, so that the system is thorough and just. The household realizes an uneasy equilibrium, but the emotional wounds and deeper tensions suggest ongoing problems ahead. The day ends with a moment of silence. Janelle looks back on the journey, the courtroom win, the settlement, the battles, and the process of rebuilding trust that continued.
She feels triumphant, but also aware that family peace is an ongoing effort, a requirement of empathy and watchfulness. Kody, in turn, thinks about his own evolution, that leadership is no longer just about dominance, but about teamwork, responsibility, and listening. Christine, Robin, and Mary watch these developments in quiet contemplation, each of them absorbing the changes differently. The house is changed, yet the dynamics remain complicated, fragile, and volatile. Every action, every choice, and every discussion will continue to determine the future for the Brown family. The family is at a crossroads. Success has been attained, but the road ahead is full of uncertainty and possible conflict. The Brown family has moved into a new era. Weeks have gone by since the landmark $450,000 settlement with Janelle, and the aftershocks continue to reconfigure everyday life. Every family member bears the scars of the past: the courtroom fight, financial examination, spotlight scrutiny, and the heated confrontations that ensued. But hidden beneath the tension, changes start to creep in. The air is thick, charged with expectation, as if the family feels the promise of a final solution to years of silent resentment. Kody sits in the study early one morning, papers spread out across the desk in front of him. He examines household budgets, budgetary changes, and suggested decision-making framework. There is a quiet resolve in his stance, a dramatic turn from the taut defensive posture that characterized the initial days after the decision. He is learning, adjusting still, but effort is palpable. For the first time, he really does seem to know that leadership is not about domination, but about cooperation, openness, and respect. Kody's rebirth has begun, but will it be sufficient to address years of tension and mistrust within the family? Janelle, on the other hand, starts the day with thoughtful deliberation. Her victory in court has given her strength, yet she is aware that the key to success is to continue with fairness, holding others accountable, and open communication. She visits with the children, goes over family budgets, and sets up family meetings, all with confidence and calm resolve. She no longer sits back as a mere observer in the family. Her voice is heard, authoritative and valid. The peacefulness of the morning is broken by an unscheduled message from a family consultant retained to manage day-to-day household operations. The consultant asks for an urgent meeting, suggesting the discovery of irregularities in the budgeting of the previous months, problems that, though minor, will fuel conflict if not remedied. The family responds urgently, understanding the importance of disclosure and early action. Even minor financial imbalances might bring old patterns of conflict out. You see how they respond now, and that will determine their future. Later that afternoon, the family gathers in the living room. Kody, Janelle, Christine, Robin, and Mary are seated there, the air charged with expectation. The consultant reveals the results: small mistakes and missed transfers that must be accounted for, as well as suggestions for greater openness and communication procedure. The room takes it in silence, each member sitting with the implication. Janelle goes first, her tone firm but level. "We have to fix these problems right now," she says. "It's not about blame. It's about fairness, and making sure we hold each other's trust in the future." Kody nods, clearly paying attention, as Christine leans in, making pointed comments about how identical mistakes might be avoided. Robin facilitates the conversation, keeping things level and constructive, and Mary sits in silence, eyes reflecting both scrutiny and guarded hope. The family is at a critical crossroads. Will they commit to accountability or let old wounds reopen? As the conversation unfolds, feelings start to emerge. Kody takes responsibility for his own missteps, outlining measures he intends to put in place to enhance openness and decision-making. "I see now that leadership isn't solely about power. It's about partnership," he confesses. "I need to do better, and I am committed to fairness for all." Janelle answers back, her voice soft but assertive. "Acknowledgement is the beginning, Kody, but we also require action for change. Transparency, cooperation, and respect can't be mere words. They have to become a part of our lives each day." Her eyes are unyielding,
with determination and compassion shining through. Christine, always perceptive, adds her 2 cents with strategic accuracy. The court decision was an eye-opener for all of us. This is our opportunity to make long-term change. But it takes honesty, self-analysis, and accountability from every member of the family. Robin drives home the point, stressing compromise and empathy, as Mary sits in silence. A gentle reminder of the thin line between watching and doing. The family is at a turning point. Their choices now will decide whether old wounds heal or rot into further conflict. Later during the week, the Brown family starts working with a formalized family plan. Each member takes on responsibility according to strengths. Fiscal management is made more transparent, and communication procedures are in place. Janelle becomes primarily responsible for seeing that budgets are well documented and reviewed together, whereas Kody concentrates on staying out of the way while giving each member an ear to hear them out. Christine keeps watch, observing processes and providing strategic feedback, while Robin mediates and provides emotional support. Mary, as always, observes in silence, her judgment slow and considered. The house starts to feel a sense of stability, though the continuing echoes of past discord hover just below the surface. The family sees a tenuous stability. Will it endure? Or is some new turn awaiting? As days go by, the spotlight on the family grows. Social media updates, newspaper reports, and web commentary analyze every step that the family takes. Kody and Janelle conduct interviews with dignity, highlighting equality, improvement, and oneness in the family, while Christine balances carefully between being seen and heard. Robin offers subtle support and advice, and Mary is the stoic column, watching the dynamics unfold. The emotional payoff comes in a private family council, meant to resolve unresolved issues. Kody begins, his voice humble and introspective. I've come to realize that leadership is all about listening, owning up to errors, and working together. I want to rebuild trust. Most importantly, not just in words, but through deed. Janelle responds with warmth and assertiveness. I appreciate that, Kody, but trust must be earned and maintained. This requires ongoing commitment, accountability, and transparency. Her words are met with nods from Christine and Robin, while Mary's silence conveys both approval and scrutiny. The family's emotional reconciliation reaches a turning point. Every word, gesture, and decision now carries lasting weight. In the following days, minor challenges arise: a missed payment, a miscommunication, a scheduling conflict, but the family handles them collaboratively. Tension surfaces, emotions flare briefly, but the established protocols and open communication prevent escalation. Janelle and Kody begin to model a new dynamic: mutual respect, shared authority, and active listening. Christine routinely questions choices, monitoring, while Robin resolves conflict and cools temper. Mary watches, injecting occasional understated feedback and keeping responsibility level. Gradually, even little wins, settled conflicts, open choices, and joint responsibility gain momentum, bolstering the family's precarious balance. The family's improvement is glacial but real. Each little success strengthens bonds, yet reveals remaining vulnerability. Weeks after, a major breakthrough surfaces. The family convenes for a reflective talk about what they have learned, individual development, and the future of the family. Kody opens the discussion, accepting the court decision and following issues as learning experience. I've come to understand that power without respect and openness is empty, he acknowledges. I want to keep learning, growing, and being there for each of you in ways that matter. Janelle continues, thanking for the recognition and reaffirming the value of ongoing accountability. Our journey isn't finished, she insists, but we've had progress, and that progress is significant. Together we can uphold fairness, transparency, and respect. Christine provides strategic advice, pointing out areas for further improvement and keeping the family on their toes. Robin teaches emotional intelligence, empathy, and patience, and Mary reassures the family with positive reinforcement through her careful presence. The family is changing, but the narrative reminds viewers that real development is a long-term, sometimes delicate process. As the episode comes to an end, the Browns share a fleeting moment of common tranquility. They sit down for a meal, tension dissipating beneath laughter, real smiles betraying relief and guarded hope. Conversation is less strained, choices made together, and respect shared. the burden of the courtroom decision, the settlement signed away, and later revelations has altered the home. But even in this time of tranquility, reminders of the shadows of previous wars still exist. A reminder that trust is tenuous and that responsibility has to be sustained. The family is now more resilient, more intelligent, and more perceptive. But the journey goes on, with every member managing the thin line of individual development, responsibility, and family devotion. Although the family has reached resolution, viewers are left to speculate. Will this harmony last, or will things get worse before they get better? As the scene fades, the camera hovers over Janelle, casting a balance of elation and contemplation. She has found her voice, her fairness has been acknowledged, and her place in the family has been redefined. Kody, now openly more reflective, surveys the household with a new eye, realizing that authentic leadership means humility, teamwork, and continued effort. Christine, Robin, and Mary stand quietly by, each reflecting on the long journey and the subtle yet powerful shifts that have occurred. As the credits figuratively roll on this installment of the Brown family drama, everyone is left with closure and anticipation. The courtroom war is won, the settlement guaranteed, and the family has embarked on a process of true forgiveness. However, the narrative highlights that in messy family, development is continuous, trust takes work, and harmony is a fragile, constantly changing accomplishment. The Browns have achieved temporary tranquility, but reminders of old drama keep us in mind that family power and trust are never fixed. At last, the screen goes black, with audiences left to ponder the dramatic arc of accountability, empowerment, and the tale is a paean to resilience, seeking justice, and the emotional nuance of working through relationships in high drama, high stakes situations. What do you think will happen next in the Brown family? Could this fragile harmony last, or is more drama inevitable? Share your thoughts below.